Hello, listener. I am Kate Henson, your resident political change maker.
And I'm Wendy Peipenberg, a lifetime psychic medium, and we're really close friends.
We are. And we're here today on the Living with Purpose podcast to continue our conversation about, guess what? Living with purpose. When you finally get there and you've determined what your purpose is and you're living it.
And your purpose at the time, because that can change, right? So
Yes.
whatever your purpose is now can be very different from what you felt it was. And they can layer. You
Right.
can have different purposes at different times.
I feel like we would be doing a disservice, though, if we didn't explain a little bit further, because it's not all rainbows and sunshine, and it takes a lot of work to get to that place.
Yes.
So that's what we'll be talking about today. We're going to be talking about what the prerequisites are for your soul finding its purpose. That seems like light and easy listening.
But it's really important because, it is important to take yourself seriously when you have a purpose in mind. And you're like, where do I get started? What do I need to know before we do this? One thing that I was thinking about was how you have to be willing to show up. You have to be really willing to show up. You have to have courage. So it requires a willingness to show up for yourself, knowing that that's going to mean from a spiritual perspective too, just showing up for other people and, sharing your gift. It's an opportunity. It's like you're a painter in front of a blank canvas. So be willing to show up.
Yeah. I was thinking on the way here, actually, like what's something that I could point to where I was like, oh, that is a moment in time where there was some kind of explosion of understanding or knowing. And all I could think about was like the bad stuff, right?
The challenges.
It was the failure.
Yeah, the failures.
The failures that led. And we do think about failure in a negative connotation in this society, which is something that I espouse to look at differently with myself and my kids. Because if I didn't know what wasn't working, then I would probably still be doing the same things once they weren't getting me where I wanted to go.
Right,
So
right.
I do think that there is some, season of discomfort where you're understanding you need to change, you need to turn left.
Yes, and that it's perfectly normal and okay to fall down, stand up, fall down, stand up, fall down, stand up until you're just standing more of the time.
Yeah.
That ability to be okay with the failure, you were talking about that. That's just going to be part of it. The failure is what's going to help you refine how to better reach your purpose. Do you go left or right?
Totally agree.
So it's a really important thing to accept failure. To me, that word acceptance is another word for love, like love yourself through the falling down and the standing up.
Yeah.
And keep going. Because you will fall down. We all fall down. It's ridiculous for us to ever pretend that for any of us, that our lives aren't full of falling down and standing up. So it's being comfortable in the discomfort. I think it was Pema Chodron. She's a Buddhist teacher, and she wrote a book called Being Comfortable in Uncertainty. So even when you don't know, if you have the courage to show up, keep falling down and standing up until you get there. You will get there.
I have started a practice in the morning where I do some deep breathing and I just thank the universe for guiding me along this path that I know that is being created for me, even though I don't see it. And that's been a great mind shift to then accept that maybe the path is to lead me to this place where my workshop doesn't go, right? People don't show up because I needed to have that. I needed to fall apart at that point.
Yeah.
And realize that I had built up some walls that weren't helpful to me.
Or that you were on one branch of the tree and you were maybe meant to be on the other.
Yes.
That's how I see it. You were just really redirected. There was clarity in what you were doing, what was working, what wasn't working. And you very quickly found yourself on another branch of the tree that was working beautifully.
Yep. Yeah.
And now you're an elected official.
Yeah.
It's not easy to approach life with that kind of awareness and that kind of, it's good. It humbles you when those things happen, but then you are rewarded for that. I love what you're saying about gratitude. To me, spiritually, it's also connected to we're not meant to do this alone. We can trust in the universe. You say universe, I say God.
Yeah.
But we can trust in those powerful sources that are there to help us, guide us too. Yeah. So being in gratitude, it's there, it's happening, is a really important feeling to possess.
I couldn't agree more. I do think that some people will see it as being a Pollyanna, but I think that's maybe just the uneducated way of looking at it.
Well, it's actually the opposite, right?
Yeah.
There is nothing airy-fairy about true spirituality and true belief in a higher source.
Yeah.
There's nothing airy-fairy about that at all. The spiritual world is subtle, but it's stronger than one that is not.
The world is figuratively, literally on fire.
The external world is,
yes, our world around us.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that I'm burying my head in the sand about what's going on. I'm just continuing to go forward and find the good things so that I can manage the bad stuff.
That's why it's important to go inside like you do in the morning.
Yeah. Which I failed to do this morning, and then tried to leave with the gate still up on the car, and then I hit the curb. So
there is something about creating that space in the beginning of the day. It does set the course.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things I study is A Course in Miracles, and we talk a lot about setting the course for the day, how important those few minutes are in the morning to just kind of even you out and prepare you for those things that will come.
Well, the more I thought about it, because it's not just that one big failure, there's got to be a process. There's a process for everything, right? So I do think that it starts with this season of discomfort and this uneasiness, this restlessness that you know that there's something bigger. You're feeling stuck or misaligned. And then I think you have to struggle with that for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about when I was talking about it's really important for us to take ourselves seriously when it comes to our purposes. And I was thinking about my very best friend in the entire world. She is such a hero of mine. She's been sober for 8 years.
Congratulations.
And you can imagine all the falling down and standing up that comes with that path.
Oh, yeah.
And she was one of the fortunate ones. She made a decision and she found her way to sobriety, which is another very serious point when we're talking about following our purposes, that we have to come to life with a sober mind so that we can be really clear about what it is that we want to do.
Yeah.
Whenever there's substance of any kind in the way, your purpose will not be clear to you. You may think it is, but it will not be clear until you are clear.
Yeah.
So now she helps other people get very clear and move forward in their lives. I mean, this is a person who she knows this. I just didn't think it was going to happen. But you can turn your life around with hard work. It won't be handed to you. It's going to be fall down, stand up. It's going to be fail, stand up again, fail, stand up again. Yeah.
It's just like learning to walk.
Yeah.
I had this realization several years ago. We give babies grace to learn. So we know that they're gonna fall down when they're learning to walk, or they're gonna spill the milk the first time they try to pour it. And then they get into grade school and we teach them, this is how we line up. This is how we treat other people. But at some point still in the early academic career, we just assume they know these things. So maybe third, fifth grade, something like that. And then we just expect them to behave in a certain way or to know certain things, even though we know the brain does not fully form until 25.
Right.
So changing the way that you think about learning and the process and the duration is super important and a helpful element when thinking about something even bigger like this. So keep it in mind for when you're dealing with people who are under 25, but also just give yourself that grace
Mhm.
As
Yes.
you get
Yes.
older, it is harder to learn things as you get older, but it doesn't make it any less important.
It's harder to remember things you learned as you get older.
Yes. Yes. And let's throw perimenopause on top of it. Because
What
why
was
not?
that? Big lesson I learned this again. Well, not to worry, the universe will bring it right back to you. God will bring it right back to you for you to have another opportunity to stand up again. And that's the one thing that is certain. We are here to learn lessons, and so we will be given those opportunities all the time as we're heading toward our purpose. It's interesting. I just had this vision of like some people swim toward it, some people march toward it. Like, it's interesting. We all have our own ways of doing that.
I think making space for that with other people. This is not something that you want to do alone. You want to find people who support you in your journey. And then what it looks like to support other people is important to consider as well. Because the way that I load the dishwasher, not the way my husband loads the dishwasher, not the way my children load the dishwasher. But do I want to be the one that's always loading the dishwasher? No. So we talk about it, we come to some understanding, and then we just support each other. Hey, as long as the dishes are getting done.
Yes.
Right.
And isn't it interesting? That's an interesting metaphor. It's important to recognize who is going to support you.
Yes.
In loading the dishwasher or doing whatever. And it's really important to recognize who in the family or the community or the world is not going to be supportive.
Ooh, this is a boundaries conversation too.
It really is. It's knowing yourself and at least believing enough in your direction and your purpose that you can really decipher as you go, this person is going to keep the vibe high. This person's going to be uplifting. Or this organization or whatever. And these are the souls who are not. And it clears a path, really. I'm laughing because the name of my business is Clear Path Psychic Readings. But that is hugely important to have boundaries, which is not easy to do if you're a people pleaser or you're not used to
Guilty.
having, yes, at times I think we have all been there. You don't have the confidence to say, wait a second. Because it just reminds me of this song. I really like the band Garbage. I'll sometimes get downloads or I'll hear things that way psychically. And there's a new song out. I think it's called Wait a Minute. And she's just saying, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. This is who I am and where I'm coming from. And this is what I believe in. And you have to be able to protect your purpose. You have to be able to, even when your voice shakes, as they say.
Yes.
To stand up and follow it, even when you feel like you don't have anybody else around you. At times, some of you will feel that way, that there's nobody that I have to support. And the greatest spiritual teachers went through that too. All of them went through times where they didn't feel anybody understood at all.
Yeah.
Or supported. There were moments of that. So you will have moments of that, and your job is just to keep going and to protect that purpose. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a precious gift.
It's a very precious gift.
Well, I think that first module of this whole change process, that restlessness, you have to be in it because that's when you start to ask yourself some pertinent questions, like what feels off exactly? Or what do you think your soul is trying to tell you? Where are you feeling some kind of, I don't know, like I always get a feeling in my chest, a heaviness, or in my stomach. And that's always an opportunity for me to just check in and say, what caused that? And what changes can I make so that goes away? Which I think leads to the next. In my mind, there are like these explosions, these just moments of explosion, and then it's putting all the pieces together and it's another explosion. So after you've been restless for a while and you start asking yourselves these questions, you're going to have an awakening. You're going to have your moment of truth where things start to crystallize, and it probably won't look pretty, really. The catalyst for this shift in your awareness is going to be a loss, a sudden realization, or some opportunity that you weren't expecting.
So staying open is a really important part of it.
Yeah.
You've shown up, you're clear, you are in gratitude. You're asking for help through sources you can't necessarily see, that aren't visible, but no less real. You're staying in that awareness.
Awareness is super important because it's not going to be somebody yelling in your ear and bright neon flashing lights saying, "Oh, this is what you're supposed to do now." It's more than
Right.
likely going to be a whisper.
It is, yes.
It's going to be a breeze that blows through your hair in just the right way. And you have to be paying attention. You have to be open.
Yes. Yes. And again, to me, the spiritual is so important. That's where I go first. I go to God first. And that is a subtle, beautiful, comforting conversation. And it's very stabilizing and it's very strong. And again, nothing airy-fairy about that. But those of you who are more in the mental mind or don't have that kind of faith, you can still get there, but maybe with a little less comfort. So I always suggest finding whatever that is to you, like you say, universe, or
Right.
some faith in something else that is there to help you. Like the recognition of that, just like we were talking about how important it is to recognize those who are there for you.
Yeah.
In the physical.
Even self. Maybe you're just talking to yourself in your brain and then using that as your guide. You are going to help you get through this.
You will help you get through this. It won't be with the same comfort.
We have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
But, right, absolutely. But I just don't want people to miss out on that possibility.
Right.
That there is something outside of your mind. I think when we're too much in our mind, that can lead us to be too much in the ego, which keeps us from remembering that at the end of the day, there is no real other. We are all connected.
Yes.
Which is another really important thing to think about when you're living your purpose and going toward it. It really is not to just be kept for you, yourself.
The highest good for all.
For all. Einstein, I love Einstein. I really do. It's so ironic. I'm a psychic medium, but he was so amazing. I mean, I really love science too. I love evidence.
It's real. Yeah.
It's very real, just as real as the spiritual is. He said, the life of the individual has meaning only insofar as it aids in making the life of every living thing nobler and more beautiful. That is not unrelated to your purpose. We are meant to share it and bring to the world.
Yeah. That is a call to service.
Yes, that is a call to service. There's no other. We're in this life together. Whenever and wherever you incarnated is exactly where you're meant to be. Did I tell you that my mom recently told me I fell in love with Northern Ireland in the past 5-10 years? Love being there. So my mom just told me that I was conceived in Northern Ireland.
No.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. I feel such an affinity for that part of the world. And I was born in the summer of love.
Aww.
So both of these, the timing, whether it's Northern Ireland or what was happening in the summer of love in San Francisco or Woodstock or whatever, was part of I came in at a certain time, which was about our freedoms.
Yeah.
Where are we free? Where are we not? And I've always had really strong convictions about how important it is for people to be free. To be free. Let one another live. That there is clarity in that. So think about, where were you born? Again, this is from a more spiritual perspective in a way. But there are clues. Where were you conceived? Where were you born? What was happening in the world then? You came in from a spiritual perspective as a warrior for those same causes. Because if you see the common denominator, even though what was happening in the summer of love and what was happening in Northern Ireland looked very different. But it was still about, it's
the same underlying current.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom is peace. I wrote that on the peace wall there in Northern Ireland. Might be a little controversial.
How can love be
my
controversial?
Exactly. How love is freedom. Freedom is love. It's allowing, yeah?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, can you think of an unexpected moment that reshaped your sense of direction? Because it was not always clear. I mean, it was there, but it
Yeah.
was maybe a wall up. Or
I was always getting things psychically as a kid and sharing them and reading for people quietly on the side in school or at parties. And sometimes the grocery store, which my daughter would say, you can't do, just walk up to people and share these things. I trust so much that if I get them, I'm meant to share. But there were a lot of times that I shied away from that. I went to art school before I went to Michigan. I was studying art. Art is a manifestation of spirit. It was a way of getting there. I was studying psych. That was a way of getting there. My mom does healing work and she was an EMT for a while. And I think that was like her way, like what was available at that time in the world. Nobody was really talking about this stuff when I started.
Yeah, good point.
My hope is I've helped to normalize it a little bit. But when I started, it was still really weird and woo-hoo and everybody thought that kind of thing about it. So I think it was when I was in college that I thought I have to start taking this more seriously. I was married for a while. There wasn't the support that I needed there to do this work. And I literally felt, it's a vulnerable moment. It's like hard to talk about this, but I didn't feel that I could stay in the marriage and do the kind of world service work I meant to do out in the world, and felt like I had to make a choice because the two were not coming together.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember working in corporate America. I left, I was very young, and I got an office and I just didn't tell anybody what I was going to do. I'd made the decision, and that's a big part of following your purpose, right? It's just deciding.
Yes.
Like I'm going to decide that I'm going to stop smoking or whatever. I'm going to decide to love this person differently, no matter what. So I thought I'd do a few readings a week. And within 2 weeks, I was full time, and that was over 25 years ago.
I love those stories because you know what? That it happened. It's real. It happened
real.
to you. It can happen to anybody.
Yeah, and this is why we're here talking with people about this, because we have found our way to great purpose in our own lives. It's going to look very different from you, maybe.
Right.
But we know, because we've been in the trenches to get there, right?
Yes.
Like trenches too.
Uh-huh.
When you have to sacrifice something like a marriage that you didn't want to leave, but if there's not that support year after year, do you know? It's almost like you may feel like you don't have a choice. If you've done everything you can do, tried everything and you've done everything you can do, and you're still feeling that pull, like I have this calling that I have to do this on my own if I'm not going to have that support. Again, recognizing where your support is in your life and where it isn't. This is your life, and you are meant to live it full tilt in the direction of what matters to you and others. Do you know? But like, who are those others?
Right.
Yeah.
I can remember being young and hearing somebody say, full tilt all the way, live life to the fullest. And I thought that meant something completely different.
What did you think it meant?
I mean, when I was younger, I imagined like just balls to the wall, partying, spending money, absolutely nothing to do with purpose. So that is not what it means. And finding your purpose is a much better way to live.
I can say, though, there were moments in my 20s where I probably thought full tilt was that for sure. I learned to define it differently.
And all those experiences taught us something so we could be here today.
Yes.
Well, you get to the place where you have had your awakening.
You kind of know what direction you're going in.
Yeah. So then you're connecting to your inner voice.
And not forgetting that you are unique and worthy, my friends. We can't wait to see what light you bring to the world in your own way.
You know what I forgot, though? You have to let go.
In terms of like
after
allowing.
after you've had this awakening, let shit go, because it's going to be kind of confusing. You might even have to change your identity to some point.
That's so interesting. Yeah, a client the other day, and she said, well, a lot of people are saying, yeah, you love to travel. You should be a flight attendant. You should be a flight attendant. She's like, well, I'm really thinking about being a pilot. And then maybe I want to train people. And maybe I want to, like, at some point you make that decision, I'm going to be a pilot. And then you let the other pieces go. But that's actually, it takes not just the pressure off, it takes a lot of the weight off. But is that what you mean? Like, there are times when we have a lot of options, where we have opportunities. Like, that's what you're meant to. You're meant to look at those 10 or 47 things. And what here is in alignment with the direction that I feel in my heart I need to move into.
Letting go of fear is what I have written down. That was the big one for me.
Easier said than done.
I am going to fall down. And I have to be okay with that. It's an opportunity for me to show my children and my community that I serve that we don't always all get it right. But it's about the way that you respond, the way you come back, that really matters. And
the opposite of fear is, like, the ego will always want to tell us, you'll just fail. It wants to take us down. So when you come to things with love, like when I study with Marianne Williamson, I'm doing this year-long Course in Miracles. She'll say, just blast the place with love before you go in. Everything is energy. Again, spiritual perspective, energy perspective. So it's important when you're in the fear to think about all the things that are working and all the things that are possible, and what does it feel like to change your feeling before you walk into that room.
Yes.
When
you're in an open meeting and there's opportunity for public comment, I have to go in very conscious of my energy and being positive, because there are sometimes public comment that really drain the room. And so then I actively turn it up again to counteract that.
And hold your center.
Yes. Yeah. Don't let it drain me, and then do my best to send out more loving energy to then try to repair that rift in the energy in the room.
Yes.
Because there's still lots of work to be done.
Yes, and here you are. There's a community, and you're the selected official. Sometimes I think about this with a therapist and a patient, or even in my work, if someone comes in and they're really in the depths, right? Like, you can have empathy, you can have the sympathy for them, what they're going through, but you can't go there yourself and make progress.
Exactly.
You have to, in certain roles, and sometimes they flip. Sometimes we're the patient, and they're somebody else is the teacher, but when you are in a role where you are there to help and to serve, and this is your primary role, and people are coming together to talk about this, it's really important to, hold your center and know that you've done all this work to get there, and they're looking to you for some of those answers, some of which you'll have, some of which you won't, some of which you'll find, some of which you don't. And there's a poem. But yes, like, holding your center, it's not easy to do, but it's really important to remember that when you're a leader in the world, when you get to that place. Okay. And when you don't be afraid to say, I don't know. I have these questions.
Yes.
Raise your hand. Keep the conversations going. Seek the help.
Right.
You'll find it.
Totally agree. I think one thing that makes this journey hard is it's not necessarily linear, and there's no really defining moments where you can say, okay, yes, I've got my awakening now, and I'm done letting go, or whatever it happens to be. But this one in particular, I think when you start to experience resentment, or you're just feeling drained all the time, feeling guilty, or just burnt out, that's when you need to stop and you need to be releasing.
Yes.
100%.
And that might look like being alone for a little while so that you can replenish, so that you're rested.
Yeah.
Do I could always tell when my daughter was a teenager and growing up, she would just sometimes needed a nap. Things would be just fine. Recognize where your own energy is.
Yeah.
At times. That's kind of what you're speaking to. Like, recognizing when you're not at 100%, and let go of the guilt that you need to replenish. Like, cars need gasoline to go. We need the same. We need to have energy.
Our emotional tank needs to be filled. Our spiritual tank and our stomachs.
It does. And, as women talk about this a lot because we tend to overgive a lot
Yes.
and forget about the needs of ourselves. Because what we really want to do is go back and give a lot of the time, unless you are a certain personality type or something.
Yeah.
We talked about that's
Narcissists, we're
for
calling you
another
out.
show.
Yes.
You're going to feel like you want to share and give, and especially when you're in roles where that's what you do all the time, you need as much time balancing that giving out, which it needs to look like receiving from others, just receiving space and time, receiving silence when there's a lot of noise.
And that leads to that uncomfortable feeling because it can be hard to accept even compliments from other people. You still have to do it.
Did I ever tell you the story, like when I was learning about receiving?
No.
It's kind of fun. I really had to go out on giving was easy, but to learn to receive was much harder. So, I travel a lot. I would be on a plane and I would say to myself, okay, I need to really practice this receiving. I would set up scenarios and find the most handsome man on the plane and say, oh, do you mind getting that bag for me? I knew I was always the one going, I got it. Don't worry. When people were trying to just help me out, I would say to somebody, oh no, I got it. Like, what is that? So I had to actually rewind and say, find the most handsome man around me just for kicks.
Yeah.
Would you mind getting that? Oh, yes. Is it the blue one or the pink one? Oh, it's the blue one. Thank you so much. It was such a win-win because that person wanted to feel needed, and I'm having trouble just allowing someone to take care of me in the simplest of ways.
Yeah.
So you can practice this by when somebody opens a door for you. Thank you so much. Why are we fighting this? Why are particularly certain women? Are you kidding me? Let it happen. Would you like a coffee? Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And do you mind picking up a croissant? Let's receive with more grace too.
Yeah.
We are not that's a whole other thing about the feminine and masculine, but do you know we are not less because we're receiving, we're actually more.
Yeah.
We're respecting each other's
You're
roles.
both getting your buckets filled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So more of that. So it's going to look like saying yes more of the time and not feeling like you have to reciprocate with that person that same way.
Yes.
Right. The universe will set life up so that you have, especially if you've got the giving down, which I think a lot of my friends and clients and so forth do. The harder part is the receiving.
Yeah.
There's a really great book, by the way, by Amanda Owen called The Power of Receiving.
Ooh, okay. I'm writing that down.
Yes. So I think that is definitely connected to our purpose and to the replenishing when we're out there really going for it. Right. I know I contacted her once. I was reading that book. She'd be a great guest. Amanda, if you're listening.
Yes.
Can we talk about it?
You can contact us.
We have so many people we want to talk to and eventually bring on board here.
I think it helps when you hear from other people who have been on the journey and you realize that it is possible. I used to think people were blowing smoke and they're like, oh, I found my purpose and I'm so passionate about X, Y, and Z. And I was like, that's not real. Like you just want to find a job and make some money and live life.
Did you have, like with your parents, and this is a personal question because this is what I was thinking of when you were saying that. Did you have the example of, I was very fortunate. I grew up with a father who at the time was a fairly well-known artist. He has a piece in the Smithsonian. I grew up going into galleries in New York and a fantastic artist and teacher. So I grew up watching someone follow when his parents said, they're from the old country in Europe. His parents were like, well, that's not, how are you going to survive doing that? And he was a teacher, but he is an incredible artist. He had installations in airports, hotels. He's an incredible builder, sculptor, primarily raku artist. That is not a logical thing to think someone's going to be so successful in following their bliss. But because I grew up with a parent who did that, it was easier for me to say, even though mine was completely different, I do love to sculpt. But even though my path was different, I grew up knowing how possible that was. Did you have a parent or someone around you who was really influential, or even somebody outside of the family that you could look to and who inspired you or showed you that this is possible?
We struggled. And I watched my mom while she was divorcing my dad. I was probably 10. She went back to school to get a nursing degree to be able to get a job to be able to care for us on her own. And I remember vividly thinking, I'm not doing that. I will go to college right after high school. But she had the wherewithal to know that I needed to see things outside of what I was living. And she had a friend named Cheryl who was a nurse. And there were a couple times Cheryl would come pick me up in her convertible and take me shopping or out to lunch and let me use her cell phone, the brick cell phone, because this was a long time ago. Take me to her fancy apartment where everything was white because she didn't have children at that point. So I vividly remember that, and that helped me understand that there was a life outside of what we were living.
Like prosperity or abundance.
Yeah, we wasn't always having to scrape.
Yeah, it was interesting because we didn't have much either. Like when my parents broke up, my mom was literally selling one of my dad's pots at a garage sale. I mean, this guy was in this mess. It's crazy to think about. She worked at a nuclear plant for very little money when they split. Look, we didn't have much either. But what I did see was someone that had the passion to follow their dream. It's almost like he couldn't not do that. Like at what point do you remember meeting the first person in politics? Even if you didn't know them personally, is there somebody who you looked at and went, they're really following their purpose and I could take notes here. I feel inspired to be able to do that now. So you had the person that showed you the abundance.
Yeah.
But in terms of what they were creating,
I don't know. I think it was not necessarily one person. And I don't know if these people were following their purpose, but I just saw people showing up.
Yeah.
Jason Morgan, he's a House representative, and I've known him for a long time. So he was working for John Dingell at the time. I am older than he is, but I saw him, showing up and moving through the ranks and taking opportunities and just doing things. And I was like, well, he can do it and he's successful. So, I mean, I have my experience, so let me try.
Right. You get to, well, why not me?
Yeah.
I say that to clients all the time where they're stuck. I mean, well, why not you?
Yeah.
Why not you?
And then I knew I would have people like Jason to then go to for advice and counsel as I moved through my journey.
That's a really important point too, to find people before you begin it full on that feel like mentors or who are doing what it is you want to accomplish and talking with them. I remember being in high school and college, and it's very different now, but people would say before you got a job, well, why don't you reach out and have an informational interview?
Yeah.
They would call it. It's a lot harder now. There's all these gatekeepers. I don't know how possible these things are these days, but it's kind of that. It's like really paying attention to who inspires you. To me, that's in spirit, that word, inspire, in spirit. Who's really inspiring you to do what you do? And there will be people in that arena that don't. And again, it's recognizing who does, like him, for you, and who doesn't. There might even be more people who don't.
All the progressive women in politics, whether they're an elected official or an activist, is somebody that I look up to and feel a special connection to, because it's not easy and it's frankly scary. So anybody who's willing to do that really is somebody who needs to be celebrated and supported.
Yes, it reminds me when we talk about that story about women's fears. If you're in the woods, more women fear men than bear, than if you came across a bear. Men were shocked at that. But it just goes to show, you talk about women in politics. It hasn't been that long since women could vote.
Exactly.
let alone run for office, let alone make it through. The
Get a loan, have a
yes,
credit card,
yes,
you name it.
but to just get through the red tape
Yes.
to even be able to step into an elected office. So I'm just so damn proud of you.
There were women that blazed the trail before me, and I am happy to continue
Yes.
to tamp down the weeds so that more can come behind me.
And that's why purpose is so important. That's why that recognition that we're all one, that there is no real other. We are meant to do that to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Not one of us is going to change it for everybody.
Yeah, that would be impossible.
Right. Right. Did I ever tell you the story about my mom who she's really gifted when it comes to sound healing and things that come from a musical family. And I remember she came home and she was just really frustrated. You know, she's like, oh, I just don't know if everybody really understands this thing. And I said, Mom, if you're the only person that was supposed to be teaching or the only person to understand it, you'd be the only person on the planet. Or you may be one other person. So knowing that doing your part is enough because you are part of the collective. You are a wave in a massive ocean. As we each do our part, as you trailblaze, it will get easier.
Yes. And I think that's part of the next step, you know, connecting to my inner voice and building the trust in my knowing what I'm supposed to be doing it's just that next step in
yeah, you want to have a clarity about what it is that you really want. To just go towards something willy-nilly because somebody else thought it was a good idea. You know, I have to ask my dad this, like, how did you get back to saying, oh, I'm still going to be an artist, even though it makes no sense to anybody. It's not very lucrative at this moment with my 2 small children. How do you keep going? It's that, what you just said, it's that knowing or belief in yourself. It's like really listening to that inspiration, what's compelling you.
Yeah.
It's like when Van Gogh, he couldn't not paint. He would do anything, include eat his own paints to continue to try to survive, to do this thing he loved to do.
Yeah.
More than anything. It's important.
Consistency in that internal guidance system is major.
Well, that's a really, that word consistency is important too, right? Because you're talking about that it could require planning. It requires consistency. I was thinking about this in relationship. You know, I've been dating a little bit because, you know, I'm single.
Woo!
But the person who really standing out to me right now is so consistent. He's succeeding because he does what he says he's going to do. He shows up when he says he's going to show up. His words match his actions, and his actions speak louder than his words.
Yes.
When you're doing that with your purpose, it is a relationship that you're having.
Yeah. So one of the questions I have written down here is talking about a time when your intuition changed everything. And so I had gotten to a place last year where I was very clear on what my purpose and my path was, but there happened to be a resignation on city council. And I left a meeting one night. Gosh, I hope they get somebody great. But as I'm driving away from this meeting, there was a voice, just a voice in the back of my car. I was all by myself, but it was like, what are you doing? That's your in. Why aren't you applying for that? And I was like, oh, yes. It was I just internally knew that was something.
In that quiet moment in your car.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then that changed the game. That changed the path.
You listened.
Yeah. That was the loudest my intuition, I think, has ever been. And the first time it was audible, but I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah.
This is it.
Why did I not think about this sooner?
And then you did.
Yeah.
And don't worry if you haven't come to it and you haven't thought about it sooner.
Right.
Because again, it will loop back around.
Yeah.
When you have a purpose and you're listening for the next step, it will come back around to you. It can sometimes take us a while to get it.
Yeah.
But God, or you say the universe, knows better than we do about where we are supposed to really be. It'll still be something that we know we want to do because we're not going to be asked to do something we have no interest in. What would be the point of that?
Yeah.
It'd be like when I was in high school and I'd go to chemistry class and I would just sit there and be like, I know this isn't it.
Yeah.
I get it for people who are going to use this stuff, but you know?
I think I did chemistry for 2 weeks in high school, and then I went to the counseling office and I was like, can I change to marketing?
Yeah, right. There are things where you're just going to feel at home, and there are other things you're just not going to be interested in whatsoever. But your best friend or your neighbor, that is going to be their path. Let them take it.
Right.
But your purpose is not going to, a prerequisite is not going to be trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to have indications of what it's about. You left that meeting, you just needed a moment of quiet in your car, and you got it. You got, like, this is what I meant to do. I went to school for 7 years looking all over the place, but it wasn't exactly right.
Yeah.
But what was exactly what I was supposed to do was actually always there. I just needed to meet it.
Oh, you know what I just remembered? So when I graduated high school, I was working at least 3 different jobs, but one of them was Curves for Women. Do you remember that?
Yes.
The 30-minute
I
workout
think
thing.
it's still around.
Maybe. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. So I had been working there and like personal assistant. And then I had also gotten this job at this organizational development company as just a part-time office girl. It comes around to they're gonna promote somebody at Curves for Women to be the manager. And obviously it's going to be me because why wouldn't it be? But I end up not getting it. And I'm kind of devastated for a couple of different reasons. But that's when I took the very uncomfortable opportunity to then ask if I could go full time at this other job. And thank God I did, because that's where
you're
I've
meant
been
to
for
be.
the last 23 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And as I was there more often and learned the business, I was like, this is what I want to do with my life.
And it felt
incredible.
completely different. Didn't it?
Yeah.
That is a good, it's like, be careful what you wish for and make sure that this isn't what you're going toward isn't just about the win.
Yeah.
You wanted to win that promotion, but that would have been maybe the death of you.
Exactly. There's nowhere to go
Right?
after manager of Curves for Women. Like that's where you're stuck. There's no advancement.
But we all have those things happen, and we think that that's where we need to be but you're just saying, if it's not something that is in your soul and in your spirit, you may not have reached that thing yet. And it is out there for you.
Yeah.
So thank God.
I know.
And how long was it before that opportunity, the full-time one?
Oh, I asked immediately. I would do part of the day at Curves, and then I would do the afternoon at the other place. And so I didn't get it the morning, and that afternoon I walked in there.
It can happen that fast, right?
Yeah.
And when we don't move things along, the universe, God will move it.
Yes.
We'll do it for us.
Yeah.
Whether it's a job, a relationship, a school, whatever it is you're going through. If you have been moved along because you didn't move yourself along more quickly, you're going to kind of have that feeling. You might not know what's next, but you trust.
So you have done all of these steps, right? You've been in that place of discomfort. You've had your awakening. You've let shit go, because we have enough neck and back problems, women. Let's not continue to carry this baggage with us. You've been able to connect with your inner voice, and now you have some sense of direction. And what always ends up happening is you get an invitation or you get an opportunity to serve or contribute. And that was mine. Like, okay, yes, ouch, you didn't get this promotion.
Yeah.
But I walked in and got this other incredible job.
Which is where you were meant to be.
Absolutely.
And you recognized who was really going to support you there besides yourself.
Right. Yeah. Nobody was supporting me. I walked this other job that I had it just was like the doors open, the angels were singing, and I have this. I've had this incredible career there, and the people that I've met, and the relationships that I still have with them carried me through a lifetime.
And it isn't that political.
That one is not political, but
it led me to the political arena.
Yeah. Ironically, the reason I found that job in the first place was because there was a woman who was working out at Curves for Women, and it was my job just to shoot the shit. Well, I'm going to distract you while you're doing this 30-minute workout. And so she's telling me that her son is running for state senate. I was like, yeah, sure, I could totally run that campaign like in my sleep. And she's like, oh, okay, haha, I'll have him call you. And it wasn't 10 minutes after she left. I'm just sitting at the front desk and a man walks into Curves for Women. So I'm like, well, obviously, sir, you're in the wrong. And he's like, no, my mom said you would help me. And I was like, oh, you
Oh my
misunderstood. I am completely ill-equipped and I don't know anything about politics. And he's like, no, I really need the help. And so
Wow.
just because I'm in
You
my
were
20s.
called. Here you are. You're
Yeah.
already being called in that direction.
Yeah. So
And you're kind of resisting it,
little
which
bit.
is, I think, a normal thing, because when you're really faced with your purpose, I think there is a moment, not to fear it, of resistance, because you're taking accountability for taking on something that really matters.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes we get into relationships. Oh, it's scary, but if it really matters, that's going to be a really normal feeling.
We look at fear as something that's bad and telling us this is scary, don't do it. In actuality, most of the time you should be looking at it as it's just this is new and different. But don't not do it.
Yes. Or people say, Wendy, I'm feeling really anxious about that. And I might say, well, depending on the situation, maybe it's anxiety, but maybe it's anticipation for what is to follow.
So I ended up saying yes, because what do? You're in your 20s. You're like, sure, I'll do whatever. He worked for this organization. So he introduced me to Frank because they needed, I thought I was just going to meet them to be able to talk intelligently about this candidate. They were doing a workshop. I meet them at it was the Campus Inn at the time. I go to meet his boss.
In Ann Arbor.
Yep. To have this conversation, which fast forward later, I had my wedding reception there. But Frank takes me across the hall into another room and we start having a conversation. And all of a sudden I realize, oh my God, this is a job interview. I am doing terribly.
So you felt like there was a fall down moment.
Yeah, but it didn't really matter because I didn't realize that I thought I was just there to meet people. Yeah. Right. So I was just like, well, so great to meet you. Have a nice life. But they called me the next day and they're like, can you start tomorrow?
It's a stand up moment.
Yeah.
And all because this lady walked into Curves. It's like, thank God for Curves.
Because I ran my mouth.
Right? But you never know where those opportunities are going to present themselves.
Yeah.
Nothing is really separate, really, right? We can look at Curves as really separate, but it's actually Curves that opportunity that walked in that day that led you to a completely different arena, which is the one you're meant to be in.
Two different arenas, right?
Yeah.
The corporate world and now political. So.
Yes, exactly. And the same when I worked in music and thought that was going to be the way. It was just the bridge.
Last week, I took a moment to myself and I tried to imagine what 10-year-old me would think about 44-year-old me.
What's happening now? Yeah. You couldn't have imagined it.
No. If she were in this room, she would probably just be screaming and running in a circle around this table like, what?
Right? But isn't it great? It's even better than what you thought.
Oh, absolutely.
Like when I was growing up, I grew up in a little town called Stevensville near St. Joseph, Michigan. I was a beach kid growing up. And there was a big shout out to Stevensville. Gosh. There was a big thing called, it still exists, called Blossom Time. So every community has these pageants. And I was in these pageants. And it was fun for me. I know. Sometimes I was trying to get a little help for school, but it was also fun. I was in theater and I enjoyed being on the stage and, got a little glam in me.
Yeah.
Like that never went away. I have to have a little sparkle.
Absolutely.
All the time. As I sit here in my Pilates wear. But during Blossom Time, and we're on stage and we're asked about our future, I remember saying, I was doing a few little commercials. My stepdad worked in radio. I was doing some commercials and I was going to go to art school. And part of the thing I was going to study was advertising. And I remember saying, I would really aspire to be an advertising executive. Now, for some people, that is going to be their purpose and they're rocking it and they're out in the world. They're doing that right now. But like you, I could not have imagined how this winding road would take me and get me to where I'm really supposed to be. So it kind of begs the question, like, you can resist, but is it going to get you anyway? Like, if you just really do pay attention, there's going to be a moment where it loops around and you are in your purpose.
Yeah.
If you just keep following your bliss and you keep following those little, the little still voices within you, you'll get there. And at that time I thought, oh yeah, that would be the Mac Daddy of experiences. And here we are. So keep going. Keep going. You want to leave space for all the different opportunities.
I think it's important to point out that when you show up, you need to show up with joy, and you need to be actively looking for those little pockets of joy. It did suck when when I didn't get the promotion, because I thought, God, I've been doing a good job. I'm showing up. I'm doing all the stuff. I have extra responsibilities, but I don't get, so whatever. But
Yes.
so I could have gone through the rest of the day and just been crabby, but you
got kind of excited about that next opportunity.
Well,
there was joy in the next day.
I was ready to vomit, right? I was so nervous. I was afraid I was going to throw up as I'm asking Frank for this job. And then when he says yes immediately and was so kind, and he said some nice things about wanting to have me around, I was like, oh, okay.
That felt good.
Yeah.
That felt joyous.
Focus on that, not the other thing.
That felt joyous.
Yeah.
So just wrapping up here, we had a couple of ideas for you, dear listener.
Capturing the journey is important. I think if you have the opportunity to sit down and just write a few things down, one question to think about as it pertains to finding your joy and your purpose. And maybe you write it on your phone. Maybe you write it in a book.
What do you feel your next purpose is? And where are you on that journey?
Check in with your soul and figure out which phase of the process you're in. Are you still in that season of discomfort? Are you still feeling misaligned and stuck? Have you moved to the awakening? Did you have your moment where you're like, aha?
You let go of what you need to and who you need to?
Yeah.
Are you connecting and listening to that inner voice?
Or maybe you already have your invitation, your opportunity to contribute and serve.
So check in and see where you're at. And it really does to help break some of these things down. Hope this was helpful for everybody today. This was a long one.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Yep.
We'll be back next week with more fun stuff. Until then, keep finding the joy. Good to see you.
Thanks so much for listening. Good to
Bye,
see you.
everybody.
Bye.